Ladies and gentlemen, how do?
The latest in the Labour Party row over the suspension of 4 of their MPs. Chris Hinchliffe, Rachel Maskell, Brian Leishman and Neil Duncan-Jordan all lost the party whip after being accused of persistent disloyalty. One government minister, Jess Philips, has defended the decision to suspend her colleagues. Our political correspondent Romilly Weeks is in Westminster for us. Now, Romilly, what has she had to say?
Lucy, ministers are saying the Labour Party has got to pull together now as a team, but the shock of the Prime Minister reaching for the long knives and shunting these 4 MPs out into the cold is still reverberating, and a good chunk of the party is pretty furious about it. Certainly, amongst those on the left of the party, there is a lot of support for these 4 standing up as they see it for their constituents and their convictions, with one MP texting that the party is being run as a dictatorship and another that this is more about a failure of leadership. What it has meant is that on the day that the Prime Minister is hosting the German Chancellor, there are more questions not about the treaty that they're signing, but about the party's open wounds. But Jess Philips, as you say, not known for mincing her words herself, was clear that this is more than just about the welfare rebellion.
Obviously, these are decisions for the Chief Whip, and I'm not across the detail of how many times these people have been spoken to or the disciplinary procedures at all, and for that I am grateful. But, we have to act as a team. These people were elected as Labour MPs, so the idea that somehow they care more about their constituents than others is something that I would heavily push back on. There were 40 Labour members of Parliament who voted against the government on the welfare bill, and only 4 people have lost the whip. It's nothing to do with welfare. From what I can gather, from what I can read, just like everybody else, is that there has been a persistent problem of them speaking persistently against the government, and no government can operate without any discipline. The idea that we can all just be going off and saying whatever we want, that's not how you govern, and you have to act as a team. And dispute and debate is not something that I have ever shied away from, nor will I ever, but there is a difference between making yourself heard and clear and speaking up for the things that you care about, either at home or otherwise, and persistently seeking to undermine the government.
And if Number 10 thought that this could draw a line under party discipline issues, up pops Diane Abbott, herself suspended for a year before the general election over allegations of anti-Semitism. She has said in a radio interview that she doesn't regret the comments that led to her suspension. The Labour Party say they are taking this incredibly seriously. It could be that these 4 suspensions and the bad feeling that they've created may not be the last.
There is just so much to unpick here with Jess Philips' comments supporting one Keir when it comes to the sacking of these 4 MPs. Where to begin? Well, Jess, let's explore exactly what role of an MP is to begin with, and just how they get that role in the first place. In those screenshots taken directly off the Parliament UK website, did it mention anything about acting as a team if you are in government? No, it did not, Jess. And as an MP, you have an obligation in the first instance to be the voice of and act on behalf of your constituents, because they are the people who voted you in. They pay your wages. They did not vote you in to be a team player and go along with everything, your party, or in the case of this government, everything that Keir Starmer wants. Once again, we have the media not doing its job and pushing back on this absolute load of big, fat, hairy, spherical shaped things that Mouthy Jess is belching out of her gummy mouth. Jess, please explain this to me. How is being a team player and going along with everything your leadership tells you to do, being a part of a democracy? Surely behaving in such a way is what you do if you are in the government of an autocracy or a dictatorship. Is that what you are advocating for? Jess, what you have said is the biggest cop out of all time and is on the same level as the "we were only following orders" excuse. And I am really happy that I do not live in your constituency, because you sure do not represent those people that voted for you. Take a note of that last part, Jess. They voted for you, and you should be acting on their behalf. Acting as a team, my arse.
It's good to have you here. You were called into the Whip's office today. What happened?
Basically, I was informed after Prime Minister's questions that I was going to have a temporary suspension of the Whip pending investigation into my voting record and some of the things that I've said that have been deemed detrimental to the government in the media.
And did they explain, what those things were, for example? Or?
No, that wasn't any in-depth conversation. Of course, I was shocked at the news and incredibly disappointed. I mean, I love the Labour Party. My home politically is in the Labour Party, and I want to get the Whip back. So, yeah, it was a real shock.
What did you say to them?
I listened, mainly. I was in a state of shock, and I asked for it in writing. And to be honest, it's in... Look, what is the route back into the Parliamentary Labour Party? Because I was elected as a Labour MP, but really, I was elected to serve the constituents of Alloa and Grangemouth, and that's what I think I've done in my first 12 months.
You say that you were shocked when you went in there and you got the news. Did you have any kind of prior warning? Had you had any contact with the Whips before?
None at all. It was a complete bolt from the blue. To receive news of the suspension. I was very, very shocked.
And how about the Prime Minister? Has he made any attempt to kind of reach out to you over the last few months, or, for example?
I haven't. In my 12 months as an MP, I haven't spoken with the Prime Minister personally at all, apart from the 3 Prime Minister's questions that I've asked.
So you haven't actually had any contact with Keir Starmer in that time, then?
0.
So I guess, what some people might be saying in Number 10 or in the Labour Party is like, look, you rebelled, right? You've broken the Whip. What did you think was going to happen?
Well, as I said, Sophie, my loyalty is to the constituents that elected me to Westminster. Now, when we look at, without going into individual policies that the government have put forward, no one thought they would elect an MP to go and make society worse or make them poorer. I've went down there and I've tried to fight on personal constituents and constituency issues and wider national issues that I think, to be honest, is the wrong course of action that the government have taken.
And I guess some would say, if you're looking specifically on welfare, the government changed its course on welfare, and they said that they've been listening to backbenchers such as yourself.
Well, we saw a raft of concessions from the government that got the bill into a better place. Ultimately, the bill still wasn't fit for purpose. And I will stand by what I said in the run-up to the second and the third reading and what I was saying for months. The bill should have been pooled and actually proper consideration with disability charities and organisations and actually come up with a welfare system worthy of the name.
Some in Number 10 are suggesting that the reason that these 4 MPs have been singled out is for organising, for effectively kind of plotting. What would you say to that?
Well, I would say that what we've got to do is we work as a collective. That's the whole point of the Labour Party, the sum of its parts, and so on and so forth. And yes, when the government does take the wrong direction, it's incumbent on backbench MPs to actually try and be that compass for the party leadership, to actually say, you're heading in the wrong direction here, and actually offer the rational and logical way to making things better.
How do you think Keir Starmer's relationship is with his backbenchers?
Well, I'm not going to comment on fellow Labour Party backbenchers, but I think it's been well documented that, and I answered it already, we don't really have that personal relationship. Now, I appreciate he is the most important politician in the country, but international issues, domestic issues, but you've also got to make sure that everything at home is right. And I think it's quite clear that it's not.
Have any other MPs been in contact with you, showing solidarity, for example?
Oh, absolutely. I've got many great friends that are in the PLP, and, we're very lucky. There are some phenomenal MPs from all over the country, not just from Scotland. And yes, I've appreciated their message of support and solidarity.
So you think that this might, I guess, go against the Prime Minister among some backbenchers, this decision?
I don't know. I can only comment on it for myself, and I'm incredibly disappointed. I mean, I'm devastated. I'm a proud Labour Party member, and I have been for quite some years, and I still think that the Labour Party is the true vehicle for positive social mobility and actually making the country a much fairer and equal place.
So you're not tempted by the new party on the left, the Zara Sultana, Jeremy Corbyn party?
I have the utmost respect for Jeremy and Zara. They've been fantastic parliamentarians, and you know, they've been very, very supportive to me as a new MP in my first year. I've got all the respect in the world for them, but as I say, I still think that the Labour Party, with the infrastructure and the people involved and the phenomenal grassroots members that we have, I still think that that is the real vehicle for social change in the country.
So you rule out joining it then?
I'm a Labour Party member.
OK, thank you very much.
Well, Brian, old chap, it looks like dear Jess did not have your back as you were one of the plotters. I guess Jess will be taking you off her Christmas card list. Brian, you might love the Labour Party, but it is no longer the Labour Party that you fell in love with, the one that was founded on strong socialist beliefs, that Labour is dead and buried and Starmer has been shoveling the dirt into its grave ever since he became leader. Blind obedience to Starmer is the only way back into this Starmer brand Labour Party, so Brian, you best get those knee pads on. Massive shout out to the lads over on ALLShorts AI for making my words come to life. Say hello to them. Well, folks, if you enjoyed this video, then not only are you lovely people, but you also have great taste, and you should also subscribe to the Two Davies for news and politics from a very Scottish perspective, and that rantastic Mr. McGuinness. You should also subscribe to Mr. Daily Blasé's channel for merriment, mischief, and the Friday frolics. Cue growling cat.